Hey guys, welcome back to another new comic book day video. This time it's going to be slightly different. As you can see, this is not even really close to a new comic book day book. I do have some new comic book day books. However, over the last week, if you remember, I didn't upload anything last week because I really didn't have anything on pull, but I did get 4 back issues off eBay, and I did stop in by my local comic store last Wednesday to add some books to my pull that will be coming out. And they happen to have a lot of books that I've been wanting to read, and it was a good deal. So, as you can see on your screen, this is the first issue in that lot that they had at my local comic store. And it's the New 52 Swamp Thing by Scott Snyder with art from Yannick Paquette. And I've been wanting to read this. I heard it was a really, really good series. And they had the, let's see here, not just the first, but the second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th, and lastly, 8th issues. So they had Swamp Thing issues 1 through 8 for 20 bucks, and I felt that was a really fair price, and I'd been wanting to read this. And I know you can get the entire run for between 60 to 80 bucks depending on the day, but I don't know, I like supporting my local comic stores, and with them constantly going out of business nowadays, I figured, you know, might as well try and support them where I can and do the most, because I love my local comic store and I've been going there my entire life, and I'd like for them to stay there as long as they can. Great people, and I love going there and getting my comics from them. So yeah, because I know there's people in some states that have to drive upwards of 8 and 9 miles to get to there. Or actually, I heard of one experience, and they had to drive 40 miles to get to their nearest local comic store. So just try and support it, because at this point, I mean, comic stores are a dying breed. But so yeah, if you do have a local comic store, do your best, not just on pulls, but also on these old back issues. Help them get rid of them, you know. So anyway, moving on. I don't want to try and pander too long on these books, because like I said, I do have quite a few to show off. So, and I know my last video was really long, and I know not many people like watching long videos like that, because part of what was put up on YouTube was I can see now how far into my videos people watch, and they don't get too far. So I figured I'd try to make it a little bit shorter, so try and speed things up a little bit. So these next 4 issues I got off of eBay. Great deal. It was only 12 bucks for the lot of them. And it is the Sword of Azrael series. I have 2 comic stores near me, and one of them had this first issue for it was for 12 bucks in like a first issue and key issues box. And I've since gone there, and they now have it up on their wall for $15. But I don't like going there for back issues. They're typically really expensive. So I've loved Azrael ever since I was a kid, and this isn't a super expensive key, but I figured I'd look on eBay to see what the best deal I could get was. And of course, this is the first appearance, but there was a guy that had the first, second, third. I just absolutely love that Casada artwork. That's just beautiful. But also the 4th issues from the series. So the entire mini-series, all 4 issues. I've read the first. I have yet to read the other 3. Haven't gotten around to it. I've been busy, and I need to get to that Swamp Thing stuff now, and trying to finish off All-Star Western, but from the New 52. But I'll get around to it. But the first issue is really, really good. If you're reading Curse of the White Knight right now and you haven't read these, I would really suggest it. Just some really good information to go right along with Curse of the White Knight regarding Azrael and his history. So just really cool books if you're curious about Azrael. Like I said, I've loved Azrael since I was a kid, so being able to finally have its first appearance. Not like it's a super major book, but I'm still happy to have it. So try to pick it up if you can, especially if you can get the first issue for around $10 or lower. Alright, and that was it for my back issues. Now we're going to go ahead and get into what I actually got that was new. Alright. So, starting off things, actually, I'm going to have to grab a book real quick. Well, I'll show this book first, but I forgot a book in my box that I got last week because I didn't think I got anything, but I did have a book on pull that I ended up picking up. Anywho, before I have to go do that, Spawn issue 301, if you saw my video, what was it, 2 weeks ago at this point? I showed off that I got Spawn 300, the cover swipe of Amazing 300. As soon as I saw this, man, I couldn't say no. I'm a sucker for Alex Ross, and called up my local comic store and to try and see if they could get it, because again, I could have gone online to get it, but try to help out my local comic store wherever I can, and went through them, and sure enough, he was able to get it. But that wasn't the cover I was looking for in specific. It's very, very close, but what I really wanted was this, the Virgin variant, which is just gorgeous. I mean, that is, I don't know if I told you, but that's now my wallpaper on my phone. It's just beautiful, beautiful artwork of Spawn dead center in a very dynamic pose, the chains coming out, and what I can only presume are all of these souls in hell surrounding him, grabbing at him. Just beautiful, very visceral cover. And like I said, if you can, get some of these books. Alex Ross covers do tend to get pretty expensive aftermarket if you don't get them when they come out, especially if they get pretty popular. But I mean, these are just great books to get. I mean, record-breaking books. So I mean, if you can, you have a chance to get them, I would definitely recommend that you get them. So I'm real quick just going to grab the book that I got last week because professional YouTuber forgot it. But I will leave this on the screen so you have something to look at for the next 5 seconds while I go grab it. Alrighty, so like I said, this was a book I got last week, which I didn't think I was going to have time to get, but I ended up having time to get it, clearly, because I said I got it last week. So, this is a book I didn't see too much hype about when it came out, but it is Ghost Rider issue number 1 of Lord knows what volume at this point. Ghost Rider's the kind of character, he had 2 long runs, one when he first came out and then one in the 90s, and then he had a bunch of random ones that would last maybe 10 to 20 issues before it would get scrapped. A lot of these guys just don't have good runs. Ghost Rider, Punisher, they just don't get treated the best, but it seems like Marvel's giving this a decent shot, and I'm sorry, but that cover is just gorgeous. I was looking at some of the variants, but the only one I thought was anywhere remotely worth me spending more money on was the art, was it Art Germ? No, I know it wasn't. Art something. Of course, as soon as I'm on camera, I can't remember it. But it was Art Someone. He did a beautiful cover for this. Although it was a 1 in 50, so it wasn't cover price. So I'm not going after that. But it's a beautiful cover if you wanna check it out. So Art Adams, there it is. It was gonna come to me. Art Adams, feel free to check it out. It is a beautiful cover. Anyway, I didn't get any variants for this one because again, Marvel number 1's $4.99. I'm not going to support that as much as I can. I mean, I'm not going to miss a number 1 issue that I need, and I think Marvel knows that, but that's why there's only 2 Marvel books on my pull. Well, one, but one you're about to see I'm going to add to my pull. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get on to that one. And said book would be the new Doctor Doom, issue number 1. Trying to center that. There we go. So, let's talk. I was not looking forward to this book. Not because of the art. I mean, the art is gorgeous. Look at that cover. Look at it. And if you need any further proof of the art being beautiful, look at the variant cover, the cover B variant. Beautiful. The art is one thing I will not say anything bad about. The art is gorgeous. I mean, I can't say anything. The art's beautiful. They did a really, really good job drawing this book. And the colorist, awesome job. The writing. When I heard the summary of this book, I was not looking forward to it. I wasn't going to pick it up. But at the end of the day, I love Doctor Doom and the art is gorgeous. So I figured I'd try the first issue. It started off in the first few panels being what I expected just about with Doom. Oh, spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, these are spoilers for like the first 2 pages. But it starts off with Doom on a talk show. Doom gets irate, of course. And then when Doom hangs up on him, because he's not in person, it's like over a Skype call kind of a thing, one of the co-anchors said, or brought out that Doom was once defeated by Squirrel Girl. And right off the bat, it didn't put a good taste in my mouth, but I pressed on, and I'll be honest, that was the only negative part in the book that I saw, and the only kind of SJW-ish writing in it. The fact that it was right off the bat, and I already had that predisposition, wasn't putting me in a good mood, but the book got really, really good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with this. I wasn't sure about the whole sympathetic Doom aspect, but they managed to make him sympathetic in a way that you still know he's a villain kind of sympathetic, where he's still not a nice person. But it brings it about in a way that makes sense for the character. And I hope they can keep that up, because it's a very thin line to walk with a character like Doctor Doom. Because, I mean, in all aspects, Doom is basically the Joker for the Marvel Universe. And it's a hard balance to keep. But I think if they write it, this can be a really good series to watch out for. So if you haven't picked it up, I can honestly say I recommend it. If for nothing else, just the beautiful art alone. So, yeah, be a good series to look out for. So moving on to the last book, and I'm actually making pretty good time, so if I don't manage to spend an entire year in this next one, we should be good. Anyway, this is the only DC book that I had on my pull this week. Well, it wasn't on my pull, but I wanted to pick it up, which it will be on my pull after today, and that is Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. Now, this cover, not bad. Not bad. I think it's alright for what it is, but what I really wanted, there were 3 variants for it. This one, the main one, and then cover B was done by the person who does the flashbacks or the color scenes in the book. And then the one I wanted, and the color one was the Harley variant. The other one was done by the person who draws the black and white. The color artist is Mike Mayhew, and the black and white artist is Miko Suyan, and Miko does an incredible job with the art, and I just had to pick up her variant. His variant, I'm sorry, I have no idea. I had to pick up Miko's variant. Let's go with that. This is the Joker variant. And it seems they're going with the theme. If you haven't heard, this is sort of a Criminal Minds, Mindhunter-esque take on the Joker-Harley relationship, where Joker is still insane and still a serial killer, but a more traditional look at a serial killer, not a very comic booked up supervillain, serial killer. It's very much more realistic in that way. And I will put it this way, I have quite a few Black Label books. The most really adult that they get and the most mature they get is cursing. This book is not for children and is not for the faint of heart, because they do depict some pretty graphic crime scenes. But it's in the nature of the book. It, of course, is Black Label, but Black Label hasn't been that bad. But this book does get pretty mature, so just be ready for that. But it's a really interesting take on Joker Harley. I'm not going to ruin it. Also, to kind of save time, so I don't have to talk about it. This book's only $5.99, which, to put that in perspective, that Doom comic was $4.99. So you're getting a magazine-sized book that I didn't look ahead of time, but I would assume about the same length, same amount of pages, and beautiful artwork by two different, very skilled artists. One thing I find interesting is their choice to have the color be put into the reflecting on the past, the flashback scenes. I find that really interesting, and then the black and white scenes are the present, which I think is a really cool backwards creative choice for the art direction. I think it fits it. I think that's really, really cool. But I will say this is about what I expected for the first issue. It's not, I don't think it's nearly as good as Harleen. I don't think the art's nearly as good as Harleen. But it is a really good book. It's a Mindhunter Criminal Minds take on Joker and Harley. It'll be interesting to see if they do explore the Harley falling in love with Joker route. Although the way they're portraying the beginning of this relationship, I don't see how that could happen, but it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a limited series, of course. I don't know how limited. I don't know if it's going to be 3 issues or what. I didn't look into it too much before this, because like I said, I was on the fence about getting it, but my comic store had all 3 variants. I didn't want the Mike Mayhew cover. I just thought it was pretty boring. Now, his other cover for issue 2, I think, looks really cool, and I'll be picking that up, but I'm interested to see where this goes. I will say that. I'm not looking forward to it in that I'm not going to be, like, counting the days down to the next issue, but when it does come out, I'll be pretty excited, you know, I'll be looking forward to it. So, I think this is also a good book to watch out for. As far as a spec book, no way. I just think this is a cool alternate universe look at Joker and Harley. So if this is your thing, I'd recommend you get it and read it. Art's beautiful, like I said, gorgeous art, really, really cool black and white look to it. And this variant cover is just, if you can get just one cover, I would get this cover, but that's just me. So anyway, I would say it was a pretty good week. I think the next time you're going to see a really big haul from me is going to be the 30th of this month, because a lot is coming out. Plot issue 1, I'm getting my second print for, because I missed the first print, and my local comic store can only get the second, which I think that's something good to watch out for, because second prints, especially from independent comic book companies like Vault, second prints, if they do get a second print, tend to not be printed very much. So I would watch out for that. And it has an alternate cover, so if you like the old kind of 60s and 70s horror books in the cover style, you're going to like it. Plot number 2 comes out. The Sandman universe presents Hellblazer comes out, the new John Constantine series. Well, it's a one-shot to set it up, but so I think that's probably going to be the next big week you see me. Oh yeah, and the new Hill House book comes out, Basket Full of Heads. So I think that's going to be the next biggest one, but yeah. So all the books you saw, I would definitely recommend you put on your pull list if you can get them. I would say my pull of this week, If we're including last week, I would probably say Ghost Rider. I think that's a really, really good series to watch out for. And it is the only ongoing series I have right now on pull. And they have promised to give explanation to things in Ghost Rider's past that has not been explained yet, which that could be something to look out for in the same way the Venom series changed Venom and his origins. The same thing I think could happen with this series. If for nothing else, just some fun fact, one-off explanations that'll be cool to get. But if you like Ghost Rider, again, Dan Ketch, Johnny Blaze is in this. Johnny Blaze is the king of hell. Danny Ketch wants nothing to do with his newfound brother, Johnny Blaze, and he wants nothing to do with the spirit of vengeance. And there's a malevolent force trying to convince Dan Ketch that Johnny has gone mad with power. So that'll be really interesting to see, especially since the cover to issue 2 is the two of them fist fighting. So I think this is a really good comic to look out for and a really good series to put on your pull list if you can. Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching another week of my New Comic Book Days pulls. Another video, another 20-plus minute video. I tried to make it a little shorter, but I think given I had a lot more books to show, I did a pretty good job this time. So let me know in the comments your feedback, maybe how you would want me to shorten it, if you want me to shorten it. And if I do get more pulls like that, where they're not New Comic Book Day pulls, if you want me to even include them in these videos, if you want me to make a separate video, or just leave them out entirely, just let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions about these books, or any books in the future, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I don't know if I have any books coming out next week. I think I might have one or two, so I should be seeing y'all next week for another video. Anyway, like I said, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Take care.